I have to admit, I'm not feeling very creative today. I'm running on homemade coffee, not Starbucks coffee. Hashtag not sponsored. Hope it turns out okay. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode. We are going to make a hard right turn, left turn, and do something a little bit different today. Today, we're going to film a video about this other project that I've been working on for a year and a half now called 40 Years Ago Today. And what it's about is me, specifically my history, my biography, what things were like 40 years ago today, whatever that date is. And I started with a little bit of a preview before I was born and then really started going hard at it for my 40th birthday. So 40 years ago, I was born. 40 years ago, I had my first birthday. You get the idea. So I came across this, which was very difficult to scan. So I thought, why not make a video? So I'm making a video. A little bit of backstory. My mother used to work at Sears in Southern California, which is where I was born. And this is presumably something she got while she was working there, because way up here it says it's from Sears. And way down here, January 3rd, 1977, and I know based on my research that my parents were still in Southern California in 1977. They didn't come to Southern Maryland until about 78, I believe. Anyway, so I finally found it, got it scanned as best as I could, and figured, let's make a video out of it and see what we get. So, I guess I never really said what it is. It's a growth chart, a height chart, specifically the growing tree, complete with Winnie the Pooh, Tigger 2, Piglet, the owl, some squirrels, there's a turtle down there, and I guess that's a beaver? I don't know what it's supposed to be, and bees, of course, because, you know, you gotta have your honey pot. So let's see how tall I am. I usually come in at 6 foot. I guess I should, to be fair, take my shoes off. Yeah, right about 6 foot. Now, March 1st, 1978, 40 years ago today. Let me move the camera and we'll zoom in. So you can see here, it came from Sears, where America shops. And it's the growing tree. From tiny sprout to willow teen, you can mark your children's growth progress on the growing tree. And of course, they give you all of the sizes, girls and boys, because of course they want you to shop at Sears. Now I started way down here, January 3rd, 1977. But today, 40 years ago today, March 1st, 1978, I was 31.5 inches tall, right there by Winnie the Pooh's neck. It's interesting that it wasn't used very often. It stopped about 1980. I'm sure I will get into that more later in my research. All right, so now you know how tall I was 40 years ago today. Not very tall. And what did we say? 31.5 inches. Now, Again, it was hard to scan, so I figured a video would be great. But behind this is a story. This is our family's growing tree, measuring stick, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it in your family. In our family, we have a tradition. You get measured on your birthday and you get measured on your half birthday. Now, we started this tradition back when we lived at our old house, and we'd actually marked it on the wall in the kitchen. And we knew that when we sold the house, we would have to paint over it. And honestly, it was very depressing because it meant a lot to me. It was a lot of history, even though it was just a couple of marks on the wall. It meant a lot to me because I got the idea from my aunt, and she was wonderful at making everybody feel special. And every time I went to visit her house, I went to the kitchen and I got measured, and she'd write my name on the wall and draw a little line how tall I was. And it was a simple little thing, but it made me feel important. I do think anytime a cousin of my kids comes over, well, I only have nephews right now, but any future nephews and nieces or any of them, I think if they ever do come to visit, first thing, come down, get measured, put a date and their name next to it, just to make them feel important and maybe pass on that tradition to somebody else. So, what do you do at home? Do you measure your kids? Do you measure yourself as adults?